But one of the interesting things that was said was about kind of franchise rights. And the interviewer said, one of the interesting things he said was, we want it so bad, talking about Happy Death Day 3. But the interviewer said, I just did an interview yesterday with Robert Englund, which was iconic, which Robert Englund, who, of course, played Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But when I was doing research for it, it led me to a tweet from you saying that you want the rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th so bad, but it hasn't happened. And Jason Blum replied, I really do. Did you have that conversation with him? Is he interested? The interviewer went on to say he has said multiple times he is done playing Freddy because he's 75, but I feel like if you got it, you could make it happen. And Jason Blum said,
That's some big dick energy right here.
I know, right?
Here with some big dick energy. He said, I could make him back.
Jason Blum said, I could make him come back. I can get anyone back. Ellen Bernstein came back. Ellen Bernstein was 87, and I got her back in The Exorcist. So, of course, then the interviewer says, there you go. I think if anybody can do it, it's you. Jason Blum said, yeah, 75, he's young.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and let's talk about that before we go into what he said about Halloween Ends. So not only does Jason Blum want the rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, but he's convinced, even though Robert Englund has said 100 times that he does not want to play Freddy anymore, that he thinks he could get Robert Englund to come back. And we know that, obviously, and I feel like people are kind of forgetting about this a little bit, but after Halloween, the next big horror franchise to revive is going to be The Exorcist, because they are doing basically the same thing they did with Halloween, but they're doing that for The Exorcist next. And I think David Gordon Green is signed on to do that as well, along with Jason Blum. So here's my thought. I am listen, if Blumhouse gets the rights to Elm Street or Friday the 13th, I'm down. Sweet. Cool. Awesome. Do it. Get naked while you do it. I don't care. But I don't want to see Robert Englund back. And that's not a knock at Robert Englund. I love Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. I think he brought a lot to that character. I mean, we talked about this in episode number 12 when we did Freddy's Revenge of Purely and Simply Evil. They actually got somebody else to play Freddy in Elm Street 2, and the guy was so bad. They're like, we got to get Robert Englund back. We got to get him back. Nobody can play Freddy like Robert Englund, but he is 75. I don't know the story of what they're going to do with The Exorcist. I don't know Ellen Bernstein. I don't know what her role is going to be, but in this Exorcist revival. But I mean, if Robert Englund, think about it logically, man. If Robert Englund was going to play Freddy again, he would have to be doing all the Freddy stuff. He'd be having to run after people. He'd be having to fight people and do this weird these action sequences and I mean it. I don't think it would work, and that's not to say that he can't do it, but I almost think. I think it would be good to bring new blood into the Elm Street franchise. Honestly, these would make good episodes of this show too, to talk about, what we would like to see from an Elm Street remake, or what we would like to see from a Friday the 13th remake. So, I mean, Miguel, would you like to see Robert Englund return as Freddy, or do you think it's kind of like, let that ship has sailed, let's do something new and fresh and bring a new face into, let's burn a new face into that character?
I would say let's give it a shot. If it doesn't
with Robert Englund,
sure, let's give it a shot.
Oh my god,
let's give it a shot. Why not? I would say already, let's not let's see what he can do. Obviously, not make a movie and do it. Let's see if Jason Blum actually can make it happen with him, in post production. And if he can't, then obviously they'll do another one. I just want to know that they tried with Robert Englund. That's all.
The only way I listen, and if they announce tomorrow that Robert Englund was coming back to play Freddy, I would be thrilled. I'm not saying I would be like, oh crap, like I wouldn't be like that, but I think the only way that I would be happy, like really truly down for Robert Englund returning, is if they did kind of what they've done with Halloween and they got rid of all the sequels other than the original. But I really don't want to make a habit out of that because I like a lot of the Elm Street sequels. I mean, we just did our commentary for Dream Warriors, so that episode of Purely and Simply Evil is going to be coming out very soon. But I just like I don't want to make a habit out of getting rid of all the sequels. But the only way I'd be okay with Robert Englund coming back is if you did a direct sequel to the original one and you brought back Heather Langenkamp and you brought back, well, everybody else is dead, the character or the actor. But like if you brought back Heather Langenkamp to do it, you know, I don't. But
I say if you're gonna bring Robert Englund,
like,
you have to bring back Heather and all that. That's all I'm saying. Like all the legacy characters should be in there.
I would rather see something new. I really would. And listen, here's what I would do. Here, my thought on Elm Street is I would like to see a movie about, or even a series. It would work really well as a series too. If you did a series about, maybe it's a murder mystery thing where, you know, it's about Freddy before he becomes like a demon and he's supernatural. It's a murder mystery thing about these parents, and you know, I mean, it would be dark, it would be really, really heavy, but about, you know, even finding kids and just about this whole the police are trying to track him down and the parents take it into their own hands and they do all this stuff, whatever. And maybe that film ends with the parents killing Freddy at the end of that film. And you can even do maybe the final scene is Freddy. You see him in the makeup. You see him burnt, the supernatural version of him in a dream. And then the second film of the reboot, you can do a real remake of the original Elm Street with Nancy and what, I mean, you can do all that stuff. You know, I don't know. That's what I would do. I mean, I just feel like if we keep going back to Robert Englund, we're never going to move on. We're never going to move on, you know? And I know it's nostalgia. People want that. People want the nostalgia. They want to see what they loved from before back in this, but I don't know. There's something about it. I don't think it's for me. I'd like to see it. It ain't me, yo. I want to see
it ain't for me, yo. It ain't for me, chief.
So,
well, yeah. I could totally see both ways, but I personally think that it would be nice to know that Blumhouse at least tried with Robert Englund. I agree.
Wouldn't it be nice if but yeah, and honestly, and I know a lot of people are happy about Friday the 13th. Make no mistake, I want to see more Friday the 13th. I do. But I kind of think that there is way more to do with I think there's way more to do with Elm Street than Friday the 13th right now. Because I think the legal stuff is still not where it needs to be. I think we're closer than we've been in a long time to getting another Jason movie. But I don't know, A, how close we are legally to being able to get it. And B, I don't know what I think of a story for Friday the 13th. I mean, do you reboot it? Do you tell Jason's origin story again? Do you do the Pamela thing again where she's the killer in the original? Like what do you do with Friday the 13th? At least with you know, Halloween you had options. With Elm Street you have options. With Friday the 13th, I'm just kind of like, what other options are there? You know what I mean? Like without going all Jason Takes Manhattan or Jason X on it, like just wild and crazy. Like where else do you where do you take that story that's new and different that you haven't gone before? So I don't know.